If you're over 60, this could be one of the most important messages you hear today. Stroke almost never comes with a warning. One minute everything feels normal, then suddenly your speech falters, your arm won't move, or your balance vanishes. As a neurologist, I've seen too many seniors suffer devastating brain damage, not from accidents or poor choices, but from something they genuinely believed was good for them: vitamins. Every day, countless older adults take supplements to strengthen their heart, boost energy, or improve memory. But here's the hidden danger. Some of these common vitamins, especially in high doses or taken at the wrong time, can quietly increase your stroke risk while you sleep. You may think you're being healthy, but your brain could be paying the price in silence. In today's video, I'm going to uncover 5 specific vitamins that may significantly raise your chances of experiencing a brain bleed, a blood clot, or a sudden spike in blood pressure, especially in the early hours of the morning when your brain is at its most vulnerable. You'll hear real-life cases from my patients supported by science and learn about safer, smarter alternatives to protect your brain and preserve your independence. Stick with me, because some of those pills in your cabinet might be doing the exact opposite of what you intend. But first, if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. Tap that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a health insight that could change or even save your life. And if you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, feel free to type 0 to help me improve future content for you. 1. Vitamin D, the sunshine pill, that could become a silent threat. While you sleep, you've likely heard that vitamin D is great for your bones, lifts your mood, and becomes even more important as you get older. And that's absolutely true, but only part of the truth. What most seniors don't realize is that too much vitamin D, or taking it at the wrong time of day, can slowly guide your brain toward danger, even triggering a stroke while you're fast asleep. One patient of mine, Mr. Richard, age 74, a retired Navy veteran, came to mind. He was sharp, active, and proud of his health regimen. Each morning he took his vitamins with the precision of a drill sergeant, including a powerful over-the-counter vitamin D supplement, 10,000 IU daily. "The stronger, the better," he'd say with a grin. He truly believed it was protecting his bones. But what he didn't know was that it was quietly setting a dangerous trap for his brain. One morning, his wife found him confused, slurring his speech, and unable to move his right arm. He'd suffered a silent stroke during the night. His blood work told the story: calcium levels off the charts, arteries hardened, erratic blood pressure, and brain vessels under serious strain. The cause? Vitamin D overdose. Here's what happens. When older adults take high doses of vitamin D, especially before bedtime, it causes calcium to accumulate in the blood. The body, unsure where to store the excess, begins depositing it in the blood vessels. The result? Narrow, rigid arteries more prone to clots. And those clots? They often head straight for the brain. With age, arteries naturally lose flexibility. Combine that with dehydration, disrupted sleep, and a sudden surge in calcium, and it becomes a perfect storm for a stroke. What's truly frightening is the lack of warning signs. You go to bed feeling perfectly fine and wake up unable to speak or move. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most vitamin D supplements on pharmacy shelves offer doses far beyond what seniors need. Many people take between 5,000 and 10,000 IU every single day, assuming more is better. But studies show that even 2,000 IU daily might be too much for older adults who aren't deficient. The real price? Your ability to talk, to hug your grandkids, to live independently, maybe even your life. If you're currently taking vitamin D, especially if you're also using calcium or heart meds, it's absolutely essential to have your levels checked regularly and to take the supplement in the morning, not at night. Don't guess your dosage, and don't assume a vitamin is always harmless, because sometimes a routine habit can be the very thing endangering your brain while you sleep. If this caught you off guard, just wait until you hear what happens when you mix your morning supplements with another so-called healthy vitamin that hardly anyone questions. Let's talk about vitamin E. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, please drop a number 1 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. Now on to point number two. Two, vitamin E, the heart healthy. Vitamin that could cause a brain bleed. Many older adults take vitamin E with the best of intentions. It's marketed as good for your heart, your skin, even your immune system. And yes, when taken properly, it can offer benefits. But here's what most people over 65 don't realize. Vitamin E in the wrong context can quietly become one of the most dangerous items in your supplement drawer, especially if you're taking blood thinners or have high blood pressure. One patient I'll never forget is Mrs. Margaret, 81, a retired librarian from Ohio. Brilliant woman, always reading, always sharp. She had been managing a heart valve issue with warfarin, and everything seemed stable. But one day, without mentioning it to her doctor, she added a natural vitamin E supplement she'd read about, 800 IU daily. I just wanted to support my memory and blood flow, she explained. 3 weeks later, she ended up in the ER with sudden confusion, a splitting headache, and vomiting. The brain scan revealed a hemorrhagic stroke, a bleed inside her brain. But it wasn't trauma, and her blood pressure hadn't spiked. The real issue was the dangerous mix of her prescribed warfarin and the high-dose vitamin E. Together, they thinned her blood so much that even a tiny vessel in her brain gave way. Here's the issue. Vitamin E behaves like a natural blood thinner. On its own, it may be harmless. But when combined with medications like aspirin, Plavix, or prescription anticoagulants like Eliquis or warfarin, it can dangerously tip the balance, pushing your blood's ability to clot too far. And with age, our blood vessels become increasingly fragile. It only takes one microscopic rupture to turn life upside down. A brain bleed doesn't just mess with your memory. It can strip away your ability to talk, walk, or care for yourself. And often there's no warning at all. You fall asleep feeling perfectly fine, then wake up in an ambulance, if you wake up at all. What's even more alarming? Most vitamin E products sold in the US far exceed what older adults actually need. The recommended daily intake is just 15 milligrams, around 22 IU, but shelves are filled with bottles offering 200, 400, even 1,000 IU. Many seniors pop them daily without hesitation, thinking they're doing something good. But if you're over 65 and taking blood thinners, that harmless pill could be a brain bleed waiting to happen. Thankfully, Mrs. James pulled through. But her life changed. She now uses a walker, and her short-term memory has never fully recovered. Through tears, she told me, "I was just trying to help myself. I had no idea I was making things worse." Let me say this clearly. Just because a vitamin is sold over the counter doesn't mean it's automatically safe. If you're on medication, especially anything related to blood or the heart, you must speak with your doctor before adding supplements. And if this story has made you uneasy, it's supposed to, because what's coming next may be even more surprising. There's a popular nerve vitamin many older adults rely on for energy that could slowly be eroding your brain and balance. Let's take a closer look at vitamin B6. 3. Vitamin B6, the nerve support that can quietly steal your balance and brain function. If you're over 60, chances are you've heard that vitamin B6 supports energy levels, nerve function, or memory. Maybe you saw it featured on a website for senior wellness, or spotted it in a brain and circulation blend at the drugstore. But here's the part most people don't hear, and that I've seen firsthand in my practice. Excessive vitamin B6 can lead to serious, sometimes irreversible nerve damage, especially in older adults. Let me introduce you to Mr. Harold Carter, 76, a retired trucker from Kansas. He came to my office worried about numbness in his feet, shaky balance, and a strange constant tingling in his hands. At first, he chalked it up to aging. Then came the falls, first in the hallway, then a harder one in the bathroom. The third time, he hit his head and ended up in the ER with a mild concussion. When I reviewed his medications, a red flag jumped out. He'd been taking a daily high-dose nerve support supplement for over a year. The front label promised improved circulation and brain performance. The fine print? Each pill contained 100 milligrams of vitamin B6. That's more than 6 times the recommended amount, and he was taking 2 of them every day, convinced he was doing something good for his brain. But what he was really dealing with was vitamin B6 toxicity. Unlike some other vitamins that are easily flushed out through urine, B6 can build up in the body, especially in the nervous system. Over time, it wears down the protective coating around your nerves, kind of like stripping the insulation off an electrical wire. The effects? Numbness, muscle weakness, tremors, poor coordination, even memory lapses. And the most frightening part? The nerve damage isn't always reversible. Many older adults confuse these symptoms with the normal effects of aging, or assume it's arthritis or even early dementia. But in truth, they might be carrying around a preventable neurological condition caused by a well-meaning supplement. Mr. Walter was one of the lucky ones. We caught it in time to halt further damage, but his balance never fully recovered. He now walks with a cane and avoids driving. "I thought I was doing something smart for my brain," he said. "I had no idea I was slowly hurting it." Here's what everyone over 60 should know. You should never take large amounts of B6 unless it's prescribed and monitored by a doctor. The safe daily intake for seniors typically ranges from 2 to 10 milligrams, depending on diet, kidney health, and medications. Unfortunately, many brain support products on the shelves today contain amounts that are way above what your body needs. And the risks? They're not just tingling fingers. They include falls, fractures, concussions, and loss of independence. Still believe all vitamins are safe? Then buckle up, because one of the most common supplements, often taken to improve vision, can silently raise pressure inside your skull. Let's take a closer look at vitamin A. If you've made it this far and are finding this information helpful, let me know by typing number 1 in the comments. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Vitamin A, the eye health supplement that can quietly raise pressure in your brain. Vitamin A is one of those vitamins that sounds perfectly harmless, maybe even vital. We're told it's great for our eyes, supports immune function, and promotes healthy skin. But here's what doesn't get said often enough, especially to older adults. When taken in excess, vitamin A can silently build up in your body, increasing pressure inside your skull, and in some cases, causing a brain crisis that mimics a stroke. I'll always remember Ms. Dorothy, 79 years old, a retired piano teacher from Oregon. She came to me after weeks of worsening headaches, episodes of blurry vision, and spells of dizziness. Her family initially thought it might be early dementia, but once her speech started to slur and her balance wobbled, they feared something far more serious, a stroke. But the MRI didn't reveal a clot or bleeding. Instead, it showed elevated intracranial pressure. Her spinal fluid wasn't draining properly, and tiny blood vessels in her brain were under heavy stress. The cause wasn't trauma or a tumor. It was her daily vitamin A supplement, a long-standing part of her routine aimed at skin and eye health. Here's the issue. Vitamin A is fat-soluble, which means your body stores the excess instead of flushing it out. Over time, it builds up in your liver, your tissues, and eventually your brain. Older adults are especially at risk because their liver function tends to slow down naturally, and most don't realize their multivitamin already contains a full day's supply. So adding more on top can quietly become dangerous. Too much vitamin A, especially in the retinol form found in many supplements, can cause a condition called pseudotumor cerebri, which literally means false brain tumor. It presents just like a stroke: intense headaches, blurry or double vision, nausea, dizziness, and in more severe cases, lasting vision loss or memory problems. When I asked Ms. Moore how much vitamin A she'd been taking, her response left me speechless. Nearly 10,000 IU a day, every day, for over 5 years. She'd never been warned. She thought it was a safe, natural supplement. Now she needs regular pressure checks, vision monitoring, and she's still working to regain her stability months later. It didn't just affect her health, it shook her confidence and independence. That's the part no one talks about. The fear and uncertainty that creeps in when something meant to help actually puts your brain at risk. For seniors, the safe upper limit is around 2,500 IU a day, and only when absolutely necessary. Anything beyond that, especially long-term, should be closely supervised by a doctor. So before reaching for that vision support or anti-aging supplement, pause and ask yourself, do you know exactly what you're taking? Do you actually need it? And could your brain be quietly paying a price for a vitamin you thought was helping? Because while vitamin A might help you see better, it can also cloud the future you're working so hard to protect. And if that gives you pause, just wait until you learn about another so-called heart helper, a vitamin hiding in cereals and cholesterol pills that can spike your blood pressure and trigger dangerous vessel spasms in your brain. Let's talk about niacin. 5. Niacin, the heart-healthy vitamin that can quietly raise blood pressure and harm your brain. Niacin, or vitamin B3, is often promoted as a natural cholesterol-lowering remedy. You'll find it in heart support supplements, breakfast cereals, and sometimes even as a prescription from your doctor. But what many people over 60 don't realize is that high doses of niacin can suddenly disrupt your blood pressure, overwork your heart, and narrow the vessels feeding your brain, laying the groundwork for a potential stroke. One case I'll never forget is Mr. Frank, 82, a retired mail carrier from Florida. He came into my office describing intense facial flushing, chest pounding, and dizzy spells that hit him every morning. His wife assumed it was nerves. His son suspected it was a reaction to his blood pressure meds. But what we uncovered was far more dangerous than either of them expected. Mr. Frank had been using a supplement he found online, labeled as cholesterol and circulation support. The front looked harmless, but on the back it listed 1,000 milligrams of niacin per serving, taken twice a day. That's more than 60 times the recommended daily amount for someone his age. Inside his body, here's what was happening. Every time Mr. Frank took his niacin, his blood vessels dilated rapidly, causing him to flush and feel hot. But shortly after, those vessels would snap back and constrict. That back-and-forth response spiked his blood pressure, strained his aging heart, and limited the oxygen-rich blood reaching his brain. Day after day, this repeated vascular stress was like tapping a crack into glass, until eventually it was bound to shatter. Mr. Frank suffered what's known as a transient ischemic attack, or TIA, a warning stroke. His speech slurred for 2 minutes, then returned to normal. At first, he dismissed it as random, but I had to give him the hard truth. The supplement he thought was protecting his heart was endangering his brain. This is the dark side of niacin that rarely gets mentioned. At high doses, it doesn't just lower cholesterol, it can trigger abnormal heart rhythms, worsen insulin resistance, and constrict the arteries in your brain. This is especially dangerous for older adults with high blood pressure or cardiac issues. And the most alarming part? You don't even need a prescription to buy these megadose pills. Seniors often take them daily, thinking they're being proactive, unaware they may be walking straight toward a life-changing event like a stroke or heart arrhythmia. Thankfully, Mr. Frank is now off niacin, under close medical supervision, and recovering without permanent damage. But he told me some 6. What to eat instead. Real foods that nourish your brain, without the hidden risks. Now that we've uncovered the lesser-known dangers of several popular vitamins, you might be asking yourself, what's left? What can I safely rely on? The answer is surprisingly simple: real food. Your body wasn't built to run on pills. It was meant to thrive on wholesome, nutrient-dense meals. And for older adults, the right foods can do far more to protect your brain, keep your blood pressure steady, and reduce stroke risk than most supplements ever will. Let me share the story of Mrs. Helen, 73, a retired school principal from Arizona. When she first walked into my office, she had a drawer full of pills, multivitamins, extra B vitamins for energy, high-dose vitamin D for bones, niacin for cholesterol, vitamin E for her heart, and several more. "I'm doing everything right, Doc," she told me. Yet her blood pressure was spiking. She felt dizzy in the mornings and her balance was noticeably off. So we took a deep breath and reevaluated everything. One by one, we trimmed back the supplements and replaced them with something more powerful: real meals. Her new breakfast was simple and nourishing: one boiled egg, half an avocado on whole grain toast, a handful of blueberries, and a glass of room temperature water. Some mornings she'd toss in a few walnuts. No processed foods, no fortified cereals. Just straightforward natural nutrition her body could recognize and use. Within just a few weeks, her dizziness disappeared, her blood pressure dropped to healthier levels, her energy returned, and her mind felt sharper. The key shift wasn't just what was on her plate, it was her mindset. She began fueling her brain the way nature intended. Your brain isn't a machine that responds to quick fixes. It's a living, breathing organ that depends on hydration, slow-burning energy, and healthy fats to function well. The best way to support it? Leafy greens like spinach and kale for folate and antioxidants. Fatty fish like salmon packed with omega-3s. Berries loaded with polyphenols to shield brain cells. Nuts and seeds for vitamin E and magnesium. Whole grains that help balance blood sugar and encourage steady blood flow. And if those colorful supplement bottles still call your name at the store, remember this. Even good things can turn harmful when overdone. Mrs. Jennings later told me, "I really thought those pills were keeping me alive. But it turns out they were just weighing me down." So if you're truly committed to guarding your memory, your balance, and your independence, start with what's on your plate, not what's in your medicine cabinet. And now that you've heard the real story behind 5 common vitamins and what foods actually support your brain, you might be wondering just how many well-meaning seniors are starting each day on a dangerous path simply by following outdated advice. Don't go anywhere, because in this final message, I'll explain why awareness, not another pill, might just be the most life-saving decision you ever make. The final wake-up call. Why awareness is the most powerful medicine of all. If you've made it to the end, it means you're more than just casually interested in health. You genuinely care about preserving your mind, your independence, and your future. And I want to speak to you plainly. It's not the vitamins you swallow that matter most. It's your understanding of them. That knowledge, more than any supplement, is what truly protects you. In my 30-plus years as a neurologist, I've stood beside patients in the aftermath of a stroke. I've watched families try to piece together life after a loved one lost the ability to speak or recall familiar faces. I've seen resilient, capable people lose everything, not because of one reckless decision, but because of daily choices made in good faith that slowly steered them down the wrong path. The vitamins we've covered, D, E, B6, A, and niacin, aren't villains, but they are potent. And like any powerful tool, they demand caution and respect. After 60, your body changes. Your organs become more sensitive. What once felt harmless at 30 can now throw your system off balance, raise your blood pressure, trigger heart issues, or quietly harm your brain's delicate blood vessels. Most seniors don't misuse vitamins out of negligence. They do it because they care. They want to stay sharp for their partner. They want to remember birthdays, hold the steering wheel, and live independently. That's what we all want. But the road to that future isn't paved with more pills. It's paved with greater awareness. So take a moment to pause. Go through what you're taking. Read every supplement label. Talk with your doctor. Most importantly, listen to your body. Morning dizziness, post-supplement headaches, balance issues, memory slips. These aren't just getting older. They may be warning signs that your brain is under pressure. This isn't about scaring you. It's about giving you power. The power to prevent, the power to ask questions, the power to make small changes today that could protect you from something irreversible tomorrow. You don't have to figure it out alone. Share what you've learned with your family. Start the conversation. And if this video gave you new insight, pass it along. Because when it comes to brain health and stroke prevention, the most powerful medicine isn't something you buy. It's the daily decisions you make from this point forward. These insights aren't here to alarm you. They're here to help you live with intention and clarity. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and how you plan to apply it. Let's support one another in this journey towards smarter, healthier choices. If you found this video valuable, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, leave a 0 and let us know how we can do better. And if you haven't yet, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more practical, life-saving advice. Thank you for being here, and here's to living fully on your own terms.